He asked why I dressed up for a girls' night. I joked, in case I meet someone better. He locked me out. Yeah, that's how it went down. And honestly, I still don't understand why he reacted so dramatically. I mean, it was clearly a joke. I'm Jada, 27, and I've been with Connor for 5 years, married for 3. He used to laugh at my sarcastic comments, but lately everything I say seems to set him off. That night changed everything between us, and I'm still trying to figure out how a stupid little joke spiraled into the mess we're in now. I spent almost 2 hours getting ready that Friday night. New outfit, full makeup, hair curled perfectly, the works. When I walked into our living room, Connor looked up from his workbench where he was sketching designs for a custom dining table. His eyebrows shot up immediately. Wow, you look really dressed up for just hanging out with Tiffany and Rachel, he said, setting down his pencil. Did a little twirl, feeling pretty good about myself, thanks. I wanted to feel nice for once. Been a while since I've put in this much effort. The look on his face changed. I couldn't quite read it. You never dress up like that when we go out. I rolled my eyes. Because we go to the same 3 restaurants and you're always in a rush to get home to work on your projects. Between us, I was thinking how pathetic our date nights had become compared to my friends' Instagram-worthy evenings with their husband. Connor stood up, crossing his arms. So you're putting in all this effort for your friends, but not for me. That's when I should have just explained that I needed a confidence boost or something. Instead, I laughed and said, well, you never know. Maybe I'll meet someone better tonight. The second those words left my mouth, I saw something harden in his expression. He didn't yell, didn't even raise his voice. He just looked at me with this coldness I'd never seen before. That's not funny, Jade, not even a little bit. I huffed and grabbed my purse. Oh my God, it was just a joke. When did you become so sensitive? You need to lighten up. Is it, though, a joke? He asked quietly, because lately it feels like you're always looking for reasons to be disappointed in me. Now you're being dramatic, I said, checking the time on my phone. I got to go. The girls are waiting. He didn't say goodbye. I didn't think much of it. We'd had little spats before. I figured he'd cool off by the time I got home. Girls' night was at this new cocktail place downtown. Perfect lighting, fancy drinks, the kind of spot where people accidentally take photos for social media. Tiffany was already there with her perfect hair and designer bag that her husband bought her for their anniversary. Between us, I can't stand how she always has to one-up everyone else's relationships. Oh my God, you look amazing, she squealed when I arrived. I couldn't help but notice her quick up and down assessment of my outfit. Total frenemy behavior. Thanks, I said, sliding into the booth. I needed this night out. Connor's been in one of his moods lately. Rachel joined us a few minutes later. Sorry I'm late. Mark wouldn't stop asking questions about where we were going. I rolled my eyes. Connor was weird about me dressing up too. What? We can't look nice without it being for some guy. But the truth was, I did enjoy the looks I got from guys at the bar. One, in particular, kept glancing over, and I didn't exactly discourage it. I would never cheat on Connor, but there's nothing wrong with a little harmless flirtation, right? It feels good to be desired, especially when your husband spends more time with wood and power tools than with you. After a few drinks, Rachel started venting about Mark's family. His mom called me yesterday asking why we haven't had kids yet, like it's any of her business. At least Mark has a real career, I said without thinking. Connor's still trying to make his. Furniture business work. Do you know what Megan's husband got her for their anniversary? A trip to Cabo. You know what Connor got me? A handmade jewelry box. Like, thanks for the reminder that we can't afford real gifts. When I got home around 1:00 a.m., my key wouldn't work in the door. I tried again, thinking I was just too tipsy to get it right. Nothing. I knocked softly at first, then harder. Connor, can you open the door? My key isn't working. Silence. I called his phone, straight to a voicemail. I texted, no response. That's when I noticed the small lockbox mounted by the door, the kind realtor use. I'd never seen it before. There was a note taped to it with a simple code written on it. I punched in the numbers, and inside was my house key. He had changed the locks and left me a way in, but made sure I knew I wasn't welcome. When I finally got inside, the house was dark. Connor's side of the closet was half empty. A note on the kitchen counter simply said, staying at A. this hotel. We need to talk about what you really want. I stood there stunned, still in my going out clothes, makeup slightly smudged, holding the note in my shaking hand. How did a stupid joke turn into this? And why did I have this sinking feeling that it wasn't just about the joke at all? I spent the night alternating between angry texts and desperate voicemails. First, I was furious. Who changes the locks on their wife? Then I was pleading, baby, please come home. We need to talk. By morning. With no response, I was seething. I pulled out my emergency cash stash from behind the bathroom vent, doll 600 that Connor had no idea about, and booked myself a spa day. If he wanted to act childish, I could play that game too, when he finally responded. Sunday night, his text was infuriatingly calm. I'll be home tomorrow. After work, we need to talk. Talk about what? A stupid joke that he blew completely out of proportion. I spent the day cleaning obsessively, rehearsing all the ways I'd make him see how ridiculous he was being. By the time he walked through the door Monday evening, I had worked myself into a perfect storm of righteous indignation. So, you're back, I said, arms crossed, watching him set down his bag by the door. He looked different somehow, shoulders straighter, expression unreadable. We need to talk about what happened, he said, not moving toward me for a hug or kiss like he normally would after time apart. What happened is you lost your mind. Over a joke and locked me out of my own house? I snapped. Do you know how embarrassing that was? What if someone had seen me? Connor's jaw tightened. A joke? Is that really what you think it was? Obviously. God, when did you become so sensitive? It wasn't the joke, Jada. It was what it revealed. He sat down on the edge of the couch, keeping distance between us. I've been thinking a lot about us lately, about how you talk about me to your friends, how you compare me to their husbands. My stomach dropped. How could he possibly know about that? Unless, have you been checking my phone, going through my messages? The thought that he'd invaded my privacy made my blood boil. I don't need to. Rachel's husband, Mark, told me everything. He looked up at me, his eyes cold. Apparently, you've been quite vocal about how disappointed you are in me and my fake career, about how you deserve better. I felt my face flush. That's Mark misunderstood. I was just venting. Everyone complains about their spouse sometimes. Do they joke about finding someone better while dressed up for a night out? Do they post photos deliberately showing other men checking them out? Wait, he'd seen that? I thought I'd blocked him from my stories. You're overreacting, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. It was just a stupid night out. I was letting off steam. This isn't just about Friday night. It's about a pattern, Jada. You've been undermining me for months, making little comments about my work, comparing our life to your friends, acting like I'm holding you back. I got a call last week, he continued, his voice steady, from a design firm in Seattle. They want to bring me on as lead furniture designer. It would mean moving, but it's the opportunity I've been working toward for years. My mouth went dry. Seattle, you can't be serious. My entire life is here. My job, my friends. You can't expect me to just uproot everything. I told them I needed time to think about it, to talk to my wife. His emphasis on the last word felt like an accusation. But after Friday, I realized something. You don't see a future with me, do you? Not really. I'm just the placeholder until someone better comes along. That's not fair, I said, tears springing to my eyes. I could feel this conversation slipping away from me. My usual tactics of deflection and emotional displays having no effect. You're twisting everything, am I? Because from where I'm standing, it seems pretty clear. You're embarrassed by me, by what I do, by what we have together. No, I whispered. But even to my own ears, it sounded hollow. I love what I do, Jada. I'm good at it, and I thought you were proud of me. But lately, all I hear is how I don't measure up to your friends' husbands, how what I make isn't good enough, how I'm not good enough. I'm staying in the guest room tonight. I need some space to think about what I want. Maybe you should do the same, but he didn't come around. The next morning, Connor was gone before I woke up. No note, no text, just empty space where he should have been. I stormed into my supervisor's office, claiming a family emergency, and left early. My plan was simple. I'd go to his workshop, force him to talk to me, make him see reason. We couldn't just leave things hanging like this. He didn't get to walk away from me. When I pulled up to the converted warehouse space he rented with 2 other craftsmen, I spotted his truck in the parking lot. Good, no running away this time. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror, dabbed on some lip gloss, and straightened my blouse. You catch more flies with honey. After all, the workshop was filled with the familiar scent of sawdust and varnish. One of Connor's workshop partners, Dave, looked up in surprise when I walked in. Jada, Connor's not here. His truck's outside, I said, glancing around at the half-finished pieces scattered throughout the space. Yeah, but he left about an hour ago with Elise. Something about meeting clients for a custom piece. Elise? The name hit me like a slap. She was the interior designer who occasionally collaborated with Connor on projects for high-end clients. Tall, effortlessly elegant Elise with her perfect taste and irritating habit of touching Connor's arm when she laughed at his jokes. Where did they go? I demanded, hearing the edge in my voice. Dave looked uncomfortable. I don't know the details. Some client's house, I think. I stormed back to my car immediately, pulling up Instagram to check Elise's profile. Nothing recent. I tried Connor again, straight to voicemail. This was beyond insulting. We were in the middle of the biggest fight of our marriage, and he was off with another woman, a prettier, more successful woman who shared his passion for design. When I got home, I did something I'd never done before. I went into his office and opened his laptop. What I found made my stomach turn. There were dozens of emails between Connor and the Seattle firm going back months. They'd been courting him since January, sending him project ideas, salary details, relocation packages. He'd responded enthusiastically, sending them portfolio pieces I'd never even seen. He'd been planning this without saying a word to me. And then there were the messages with Elise, nothing inappropriate, nothing I could point to as evidence of anything beyond professional collaboration, but their easy rapport was obvious. She understood his design language, offered insightful suggestions, shared articles and inspiration photos. They had inside jokes. They had a connection. I sat back, a cold realization washing over me. Connor had built a whole life I knew nothing about. Professional achievements, ambitions, connections. And why hadn't he shared it with me? Because I'd made it clear I didn't value any of it. Every time I dismissed his work as a hobby, compared him unfavorably to my friends' husbands, rolled my eyes at his enthusiasm, I'd been pushing him away without realizing. And no, this wasn't my fault. He should have talked to me. He should have made me understand how important it was. Instead, he just shut down, built his little secret world, and now was threatening to blow up our marriage over a stupid joke. By the time Connor came home that evening, I'd worked myself back into righteous anger. He found me sitting at the kitchen table, his laptop open in front of me. You went through my computer. His voice was quiet, dangerous. You've been hiding things from me, I countered. Seattle. Elise, were you ever going to tell me, or were you just going to disappear one day? I tried telling you about Seattle last night, if you remember. As for Elise, she's a colleague, nothing more. A colleague you spend more time with than your wife. A colleague who gets to see the real you while I get the leftovers. Connor looked at me with something like pity. You don't want the real me, Jada. You've made that perfectly clear. You want someone who makes more money, who has a real career, who can compete with your friends' husbands. That's not me. I'm taking the job in Seattle, he said quietly. I signed the contract today. The world seemed to tilt beneath me. What? Without even discussing it with me. What's there to discuss? You don't respect what I do. You're embarrassed by me. Why would you want to move across the country for something you don't even value? You can't just decide this on your own. We're married, are we? Because lately it feels like we're just two people who happen to share an address. He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly tired. I don't want to fight, Jada, but I need to do this for me. And what about me? What am I supposed to do? Just uproot my entire life? That's your decision. You can come with me, or the unspoken alternative hung between us like a physical presence. The weekend with my parents was excruciating. I had planned to tell them Connor was on a business trip, but he showed up Friday evening to help with dinner like nothing was wrong. He was perfectly charming, asking my dad about his golf game and complimenting my mom's new haircut. If my parents noticed the tension between us, they didn't mention it. It was during dessert that my mom casually asked, "So, how's the furniture business going, Connor?" Before he could answer, I jumped in with a tight laugh. "Oh, still making tables that take." Months to finish and sell for less than their worth. The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel Connor's eyes on me, but I refused to look at him. Actually, he said after a moment, his voice steady, I've been offered a position with Westbrook Design in Seattle, lead furniture designer for their custom residential line. My mother's eyes widened. Seattle? But that's so far away. It's an incredible opportunity, Connor continued. They're one of the top design firms in the country. We haven't decided anything yet, I cut in sharply. It's just an offer. I've accepted the position, Connor corrected, finally looking at me. The moving date is flexible, but I start in 6 weeks. My parents exchanged glances. My father cleared his throat. And you'll be going too, Jada. The question hung in the air. Connor said nothing, leaving me to answer. We haven't figured that out yet. I managed fighting back tears of humiliation. How dare he blindside me like this in front of my parents? That night, after they had gone to the guest room, I confronted him in the kitchen. What was that? Announcing it to my parents before we've even decided? I have decided, Jada. I told you that. What you decide is up to you. So, you're fine with throwing away our marriage over what? Your ego? Because I made one comment about your precious furniture? Connor leaned against the counter, arms crossed. No, because I finally realized I can't make you happy, and I'm tired of trying. That night, I drove to Connor's workshop event. It was a gallery showing of pieces from all three craftsmen who shared the space. I dressed carefully, trying to look supportive, but not trying too hard. This wasn't about making a scene or winning him back with a low-cut dress. It was about seeing if there was still something worth saving. The gallery was packed when I arrived, local design enthusiasts, potential clients, and friends of the artists mingled among the displayed furniture pieces. I spotted Connor immediately, deep in conversation with an older couple examining one of his tables. And there, of course, was Elise, looking effortlessly elegant in a simple black dress, a portfolio clutched under her arm. She was pointing something out in one of Dave's chairs to a man in an expensive-looking suit, probably directing her rich clients toward pieces that would fit their perfect homes. I felt the familiar burn of resentment rising in my throat. My attention was caught by a small crowd gathered around what appeared to be the centerpiece of the show, a desk unlike anything I'd seen Connor make before. Sleek lines combined with organic curves with hidden compartments revealed by touching certain spots in the wood grain. As I watched, Connor demonstrated how the surface could be adjusted for standing or sitting, how a hidden panel slid out to reveal a charging station for devices. This piece represents a new direction for my work. I heard him explaining, it's part of a collection I'll be developing in Seattle with Westbrook Design. The pride in his voice was unmistakable. This wasn't just a job offer, it was recognition, validation of his talent and vision, something I had never really given him. I drove home alone, Connor's voice echoing in my head. I need someone who sees me. Had I ever really seen him, or had I been too busy looking past him to what I thought I deserved? The next day, I found myself driving to the address listed on the Seattle design firm's website. Their local satellite office was housed in a converted industrial building downtown, all exposed brick and massive windows. The receptionist looked up when I entered. Can I help you? I'm researching the company, I said lamely. My husband is considering a position here. Of course, we have some literature about our company culture and benefits. She handed me a sleek brochure. It's a fantastic place to work. The Seattle office is even more impressive than this. One. I flipped through the glossy pages, photos of beautiful workspaces, smiling employees, and most significantly, stunning furniture pieces prominently featured in upscale homes and boutique hotels. Connor's work would fit perfectly here. He would thrive in this environment. I was nearly to my car when my phone buzzed. A text from my supervisor. Need to speak with you first thing tomorrow. Concerns about your performance this quarter. My stomach dropped. I'd been distracted lately, missing deadlines, phoning in presentations. I'd been so focused on my personal drama that I'd let my work slip. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd criticized Connor's career while neglecting my own. Connor was in the kitchen loosening his tie and pouring a glass of water when I returned home. He looked tired, but somehow lighter than he had in months, like he'd set down a heavy burden. Hey, I said softly, leaning against the doorframe. Hey, how was your dinner? Productive. The Millers. want a complete bedroom set based on the gallery piece. He took a sip of water, watching me carefully. How was your day? Illuminating. I moved into the kitchen, keeping the island between us. I went to the Westbrook design office. His eyebrows shot up. You did? Why? I wanted to see it, to understand what you're moving toward. I traced a pattern on the countertop with my finger. It's impressive. Your work will fit right in. Thanks. He set his glass down. Jada, what are we doing here? Dancing around each other, making small talk like strangers. I don't know how to fix this, I admitted, the words catching in my throat. I don't know if it can be fixed. Maybe it can't. His voice was gentle but firm. Maybe we've grown in different directions. Connor, would it be completely crazy if I came to Seattle with you? His expression was guarded. Why would you want to do that? Your whole life is here. Because maybe my whole life needs to change. Maybe I need to stop comparing and start was building something meaningful with you. I took a shaky breath. If you still want that, I don't know, Jada. I don't want you to come because you're afraid of being alone or because you think you should. I want you to come because you want to be with me, the real me, not some version you wish I could be. His words hit home. Had I ever loved the real Connor, or just the potential I thought he had to give me the life I thought I deserved? I need to think about that, I said honestly. Really, think, not just react. 6 months later, I was scrolling through Instagram when a promoted post caught my eye. A stunning furniture collection from Westbrook Design featuring Connor's distinctive style. The caption read, "Breakthrough designer Connor Ellis brings his unique vision to our spring collection." The photo showed sleek, innovative pieces that somehow managed to be both avant-garde and timeless. I clicked through to Connor's professional profile, photos of his workshop in Seattle, of gallery openings, of collaborations with other artists. He'd cut his hair shorter, grown a neat beard. He'd looked happy, successful, exactly what I'd wanted for him, though I'd been too blind to see it. And there, in several of the photos, was Elise, standing close to him at events, looking at him with unmistakable admiration. The kind of look I used to give him before I started taking him for granted. I closed the app and looked around my apartment, a sterile, soulless place with generic furniture from chain stores, nothing crafted with love or bearing the mark of its creator. I'd taken the competitor job, moved to a better neighborhood, bought all new things to create a perfect Instagram life, and I was completely, utterly alone. My so-called friends had drifted away once I was no longer part of a couple. Turns out they were more interested in having dinner with couples than supporting a friend through divorce. The job that had seemed so important was just a job. Endless meetings and pointless reports. The salary that had seemed like the answer to everything barely compensated for how empty I felt. I had everything I thought I wanted and nothing that actually mattered. That night, I drafted an email to Connor. I stared at it for hours, rewriting it over and over before finally hitting send. It was simple in the end, just a few lines, congratulating him on his success, telling him I'd always known he was talented, even when I'd failed to show it, wishing happiness. I didn't expect a response, but one came the next day, equally simple, thanking me for reaching out, hoping I was well, a professional courtesy between two people who used to share a life. 2 weeks later, a small package arrived at my apartment. Inside was a tiny wooden box, exquisitely crafted with my initials inlaid in the lid. No note, no explanation needed. One final gift from the man whose talent I had dismissed, whose love I had squandered. I placed it on my nightstand. A reminder of what happens when you're so busy looking for something better that you fail to appreciate what's right in front of you. A reminder too late to change anything, but perhaps not too late to help me become someone who could truly see others for who they are, not what they can give me. Because in the end, that joke about meeting someone better revealed an ugly truth. I had been the one who wasn't good enough, not Connor. And by the time I realized it, he had moved on to someone who could see him clearly, appreciate him fully, and love him for exactly who he was. I was left with nothing but regret and a small wooden box that held more craftsmanship and care than anything else in my carefully curated